different countries have varying regulatory environments that could complicate the deployment of Starlink services. I think our particular country is a good example of that. A lot of governments, a lot of states and territories naturally are apprehensive about the impact that Starlink will have in their communities and are taking a while to come up with something in terms of policy because it's, something so groundbreaking and new coming so quickly.
Hey guys, this is Anesu, aka Nyati Shonga.
Hello, my name is Chido, aka Chizzy.
Wagwan, Advocate Amanda here.
Hi everyone, this is Kuda, aka Cooks. Hi, and welcome to As Told by Us, the podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 4 professional millennials discuss living in Zimbabwe and trying to figure life out.
Someone once told us the grass is much greener on the other side.
But from where we're standing, our grass is green. Subscribe, like, share, comment down below.
Hello, good people. We're back with another episode of As Told by Us. Thank you. Finally, we have a dilemma. Dilemma featuring the chicken. So, I've been seeing this guy for some time. The thing is, he can spend days without talking to me. And when he does talk to me, he acts like nothing is wrong. So I asked him, where do I stand with you? And he has been avoiding that question. So my question is, should I leave or should I try to understand him?
Wait, say it again. This is the easiest dilemma we've ever
Right?
had.
And so
we like 2 seconds.
Please
Say it again.
to the question,
Straight to the answer. No. Leave. Okay, yeah. Could I want to
say it again.
Another take.
Yes,
so she's talking to this guy and he goes days on end without speaking to her.
See, already I have a problem. What does talking to this guy mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does it mean when you're talking to a person?
Like
Vibing.
like in the dating stage, because she says seeing, so I'm guessing it's the dating stage.
It's different already. You know where my problem is? Let me tell you actually where my biggest problem is. You see with honeys, right? We are very
Delulu.
very much because you're talking to this guy. You're not dating this brother. This brother's not your boyfriend. So what entitlement do you have for him to be texting you on a date?
But also, we don't know what they be talking about.
Well, we don't know, to be fair.
Because
but
he could
she would have
been
said,
on
my
dates he's
boyfriend.
talking to her. On dates he's talking to her. He's doing all sorts of things. Oh,
I love him.
I like you so much. Dun, 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 dun. So for me, if you say we're talking and you're expressing that you like me, you're interested in me, then tomorrow for the next 5 days you're not talking to me.
But
The answer's still clear though. He doesn't like you.
He's not your boyfriend. If he's not your boyfriend, it's different if you came and said, my boyfriend doesn't talk to me for 5 days. But if you're telling me some bra that you've been texting, I like you is with, isn't texting you for 3 days, mates, that's not... Sorry,
it's
go.
okay, leave.
Next paragraph.
Oh, you still want to go through it?
Next paragraph. What's the next sentence? Already she has a
Wait, there's
problem.
more to the dilemma.
No, it's just that.
She's talking to Shay and he disappears.
Listen, the moment you find yourself saying, should I try to understand more? You are lost. You have already perfectly understood, or you're just choosing not to understand. What you're feeling, it's correct. That's exactly it. The reason why you sat down to write these thoughts down is because that instinct you have that maybe this guy doesn't like me.
It's right.
Yeah, it's true. But
Follow
either
your
way,
gut
just
to
let
be
go.
go.
Just like let it be.
Let it go.
And I feel like he's also... Do you know that term breadcrumbing?
Yes.
I feel like you're being breadcrumbed,
Exactly.
girl. Don't be the bird. Just don't fly away. Fly away. Expeditiously.
No,
Okay.
honestly.
Fly away.
But, okay, let me try to help her out. Perhaps. Right.
Otherwise,
Yeah. No, listen.
let's not confuse, baby.
I'm not confusing the baby girl. What I want to say is, obviously she didn't really get into the specifics.
of how long they've been talking. Because, some people, I know people who would talk to a guy for 2 weeks and then start complaining, right? I can't say that there's enough time, 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, where you can now definitively say, this is the person, and I want to be able to talk to him every day, and he must now start acting like he is my boyfriend, right? There is no, but my whole thing is, if he hasn't asked you, like, I'm really I like clarity. If he has not asked you, he's not your man. If he's not talking to you, you're not his girl. Don't talk to him back, right? Don't try to make yourself into the perfect girl or whatever so that he can come back and talk to you and ask you out and all of those things. If you're already asking, like Amanda said, whether or not you should stay, then the answer is, what are you staying? Where are you staying? Who are you staying with? Even if you have to ask yourself, should I stay in my house? That's a very definitive place. Where are you staying? You have no definitive relationship with this person. Where are you staying? Staying where? What is your question?
Didn't she say she asked, what are we?
And he kept quiet.
Also, that's a big problem.
Hey, we are nothing. If he didn't answer, what are we? We are nothing.
No, don't ask it. If you feel you need to ask that,
it, then
no, you already know the answer.
That's the answer.
Baby girl.
Sorry.
We love you over here.
We want you to find love.
Yeah, there's someone out there
That's
for
not
you.
it.
Hey, that's not it.
6, why do men ghost women?
They don't like. It's very simple. Very simple. Like, hey, a dude who likes you will make it known that they like you. And they actually enjoy and look forward to talking to you every day. They want to look forward, they want to see your stories. They want to, maybe not comment, but they might like, But yeah, we ghost because sometimes it's like, okay, you just generally don't like the person. They're putting way too much effort into that space. Number 2, maybe they do something you don't like or something like that. And they would just be like, nah, I'm moving. What's another reason for ghosting? Hey, like accidents, like life.
No.
Like sudden trips,
I'm taking back the mic.
Honestly, I was once hit with that. I had an accident.
Oh.
What if he did?
No.
I'm just saying the natural disasters actually happen. So
you can't find 5 minutes to say I'm dead.
Like, even if you're on a hospital bed, bro.
Can't find 5 minutes to call me I'm dead.
What my guy?
I'm just
Kana uti tumira picha drip, alright.
No.
But the whole point is, my girl, if he wanted to, he would.
have.
And because he's not, you need to give yourself permission to block and delete and get over it. Because definitely, and the problem with men, they will start, like Anessa said, breadcrumbing you. Next thing, you're not talking to him on WhatsApp, but he's busy liking your photos on Instagram. He won't comment, he won't do anything else except put a fire emoji or a like. And then you text him hi and then he doesn't respond. What is it with men?
Right.
Stop it!
I'd like to jump in.
No, please go ahead.
I was gonna say, right, there's the 4th one. I forgot to do. This one is a personal one, so yeah. This thing of when hands like curve you the first time and want to come back in you see. Because
You are the prize.
no, they come back and they're like, oh, what. Poetry. I was like, Lady Shakespeare. And I'm actually not going like poetry as in like long. I'm saying actual poetry. Like, I was waking up to poetry.
You're saying haikus.
You know what I'm saying? And the marking of territory. That's Ramba to a scanner to I'm like, I was like looking for the studio audience because I was like, surely the sitcom. This is not real. And sis was putting pressure for like a year, you know, and she was refusing to. She was haunting.
Wait,
Haunting.
I was trying to ghost, but she was
Stop it.
nah, but seriously, yeah. So another reason is when ads come back. So nigga is like, nah, I'm not giving you time of day. And then the breadcrumb or stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Sorry, baby girl.
Yeah, Godspeed to you.
I don't know if we helped, but
I think we did.
yeah, just move on.
Okay, so that takes us into today's episode. Today we want to jump a little bit into the big Starlink debate. I'm sure if you're anywhere in the world, you have at least somehow heard of something called Starlink that seems to be causing a lot of controversy in a lot of spaces. So we want to look at, the pros and cons of Starlink and just discuss amongst ourselves, educate each other a little bit about what this thing actually is, and think about whether it's something that's good for us. We're looking particularly at the African space and naturally at the Zimbabwean space. So Starlink is a satellite internet constellation project developed by a company called SpaceX in America. It aims to provide high-speed, low-latency internet access globally, particularly in undeserved and remote areas. The network comprises thousands of small satellites in low Earth orbit, which communicate with ground-based transceivers. Okay, so let me try and simplify that. So basically, a constellation, you'd normally think of stars, a group of stars or a network of stars in space. Starlink is the first, or not the first, well, it is a satellite constellation. So basically little satellites in the lowest orbit of space that are basically hovering around the world like a star would, and using that space station or substation, as it were, to give internet access to certain receivers on the ground. So simple language, you get your Starlink setup kit, and what it's doing is catching internet waves from satellites in the sky. So obviously very revolutionary technology with a lot of potential for good and for bad. So this is what we want to discuss and see where the balance really lies. So the controversy surrounding Starlink, its pros are increased connectivity to the internet. They're offering very high-speed internet where we are using like 8 to 10 Mbps. I don't want to guess what that stands for. Starlink is providing in the 200s. So the speed is, astronomical. But obviously, if that's from our perspective, in other areas of the world, they get fiber networks, which are quite good in the first world cities. So for some, Starlink relatively is not that much of an improvement. Secondly, it's economic development. Improved access to the internet can spur economic growth by enabling new business opportunities, improving education, and enhancing access to healthcare and government services. So this speaks for itself. Because Starlink is operating from satellites that are in the sky, it doesn't depend on electricity or other factors that may affect you. As long as you have access to the sky, you have access to internet. So that's why it's really popular. Say they are saying it's for rural spaces and whatnot, meaning you don't have to be close to cities to get good internet, which in some countries could be, revolutionary.
Keyboard country.
And then speed and reliability. It promises faster and more reliable internet compared to many existing satellite internet services, and also other internet services that other people are subject to. So with Starlight, the more they increase their capacity, obviously the better the internet quality and speed. Okay, So I'm just going through a lot of the basics so that we can have a very nuanced debate about this. The cons are the initial setup costs and subscription fees for Starlink, which may be prohibitive for many individuals and small businesses in African countries where average incomes are lower. So obviously, especially in communities where it's still new, the startup costs are quite high. You have to pay anything from your $300, where it's a bit cheaper at the moment, up to $750 to even $900 to just get the startup kit, depending on where you're getting it from and how popular it, or whether it's allowed in quotation marks in that area, and how popular it is. But then after you've done your initial setup, it's much cheaper than your regular internet service. I think you just have a few monthly top-ups of like $40 a month or something in that region. The infrastructure challenges, this is also under cons. So in some areas where they have more experience with it, apparently it starts and stops in the middle of the process of trying to find a satellite. So sometimes it can be covered by a particular satellite for some time, and then as the world is moving bit by bit, it has to then change to the next one. And sometimes that doesn't happen seamlessly, and you can have breaks. So that seems to be one of the challenges. And then regulatory hurdles. Different countries have varying regulatory environments that could complicate the deployment of Starlink services. I think our particular country is a good example of that. A lot of governments, a lot of states and territories naturally are apprehensive about the impact that Starlink will have in their communities, and are taking a while to come up with something in terms of policy, because it's, something so groundbreaking and new coming so quickly. Obviously, there's a lot of panic and confusion about whether or not countries should have it or not, and if they do have it, how is it set up, who does what. And then lastly, it's environmental and ethical concerns. The proliferation of satellites raises concerns about space debris and its potential impact on the night sky, which could affect astronomical research and environmental sustainability. So basically, too many satellites in the sky is also a bad thing, because now you don't have a clear view of space. And it's also, I don't know if you've seen videos of the Starlink satellites. It's so scary. It's like little, imagine just thousands of little bees, I guess, spinning around the Earth. It's like literally lighting up the Earth at this stage, and they keep on projecting to say when they have more satellites, basically we're going to have a lot of these little things flying around us. So the potential environmental impact is something that I guess is unresearched and makes people think, should we really let this guy put all these things in the sky? Because it could be, drones, it's subject to a lot of abuse. Okay, so that's it on background. I don't know if there's anything else anybody knows about Starlink that's particularly interesting or helpful to know before we jump into the big debate of whether we should have it or not.
Elon Musk is the CEO.
Elon Musk is the CEO of the company that owns and founds Starlink. That's an important one. Thanks, Kuda. Yeah.
It's debate.
Let's talk about it.
My thing is, you've already mentioned that like the different countries have different regulatory instruments surrounding, or if they do at all. But like, I feel like it's gonna be a bit difficult in Zim, although I think it's much needed, because I don't rate our internet service providers at all. But I think just getting access to Starlink, in itself, in Zim, I think it might just be a bit of it might just be difficult. I don't know, like, if anybody's read about what their plan is. I know they've said that they're gonna start, they've legalized Starlink now, is it? What is it?
Not yet.
Well, that one, yeah.
So it's not even that legalized. It's very interesting, because I don't think there's any law that outlaws it at this stage. But I think it's just decisions around the licensing who's going to be licensed to use it. I think the fight would be more in the commercial space because it really is just a business that wants to come and do its business here. So right now, from what I know, but again, there's a lot of speculation and internet fake news, but what I've seen is that it's at the stage of choosing a company or a certain agent that's going to be the one responsible for selling it in the country. I know in places where it's been adopted, like Zambia, they'll have a particular company that wins the tender, as it were, to then be the Starlink agent in Zimbabwe to be selling the kits. Because then, like I said, the prices range depending on where you are. So those agents, depending on the anticipated demand of the service in the country, can charge basically what they want. So,
but you see, even that's a problem. Why do we need an agent? Because if there's like, say, Amazon, right? Put the startup kit on Amazon. May I buy it from Amazon? All right, it gets shipped within 7 to 14 working days.
You give me instruction manual.
Tell me how to
mount
put it all together. I put it in the thing and then let the satellite do its thing. And then the same way we use Netflix in Zimbabwe, we use Spotify in Zimbabwe. We're paying for these things online. I will also pay for my Wi-Fi online. I'll pay wherever you tell.
Why must
Elon
I
Musk
go
tells
to
me
some other person?
Elon Musk will tell me how much I must pay. Me, I must go on Starlink, put my user number, pay. And the problem
Pay
is
directly to
in
Papa Elon.
this teapot country, what you don't want is, because me, Kudawashi, I'm going to move from the ones you're giving me now. I'm going to go, now everybody is now using Starlink. There's no more revenue for you people here. I'm not giving you anything, right? And that's what I feel. This is why they're refusing to license it. Because, like you're saying, they're trying to find one of the parastatals to take over so that they can also add their own little markups. And by allowing us to do it directly with Papa Elon, they are now going to lose out. But if you could think about when Netflix and Spotify came, we added to the Finance Act, we added to the Income Tax Act, we put special provisions for people that transmit broadcasting services or whatever in Zimbabwe. We have it's in now in our act. Why can we not do that same actual provision? Could work for Starlink, but because you're realizing that it's potentially a money thing. And now what will happen to the people's current, what are they called? The service providers, internet service providers that we're currently using. Now you're saying to yourself, what will happen, especially the one that's owned by the bras here? What will happen to that? But I think let's have it that way. Them bras, right, will now also have to. Let's foster competition. That's what I want to say. Let's foster the competition. Whether I choose Starlink or I choose one of the local ones, right? Let it be based on the fact that I have the choice and I pick the one with the service that I think is better for me. If you want to now compete with Starlink, how about you make your services cheaper? How about you make your services more broad? How about you put your satellites wherever in the remote areas? Just be better and do better. But right now, because we have lots of monopolies, nobody wants the competition to come in.
Hey there, lovely listeners. So listen, running a podcast in Zimbabwe is quite the journey. It requires resources. And when I say resources, I mean money, time, and effort. Wondering how you can support us? Well, we've got you covered with Inbox. Or World Remit if you're on the other side of the world and you'd love to contribute. Our Inbox number is 077-810-3171. Whether it's the cost of a cup of coffee or a virtual high five, every little bit of your support counts. Remember, supporting our podcast isn't about funding our caffeine addiction, though it is in part. But your support keeps our podcast alive and thriving and helps us create more content, ensuring that our laughter echoes through your devices. Thanks again for being part of our community and for listening.
Yeah, I think to be fair and to play devil's advocate in the situation, I think it's actually quite a tricky balance, because now you're saying, okay, why don't local companies compete and provide a better service? The size of the jump our local companies would need to make is just unrealistic anytime in the near future. No, because you're saying, basically you're saying Econet needs to get into space. No. But that's literally what it comes down to.
2 weeks ago, Amanda.
These are apples and oranges.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, when it was now being, actually, I think we're going to allow Starlink to come. And now there's like, okay, no, we're going to now regulate it. We're going to allow them. I got 5G on my phone. That week, I had 5G the whole week. I had very fast internet that whole week. And then, because the talks of Starlink died down, my 5G also went away. All right. So which means you have the capacity. You're just choosing not to do it because right now, you're holding the monopoly in them. The moment somebody else comes, you're going to give me that 5G. I might not even shift. I might actually not, but I want the choice. And I know they have the capacity, they have the money. That bra has the money, if he wanted to, for real.
Which bra now?
The blue bra. The blue bra. He knows. He can if he wants to. He has no incentive to give you better service because he's holding an entire monopoly.
That's true, though.
Plus, the thing with tiered services like this is like, even if you're on a higher tier of the local one, that's only when you get the full force of the internet.
And higher tier is equals to how many dollars?
More dollars.
More dollars, exactly.
You see?
And then the lower one is kind of...
Yeah, they are really definitely messing us around.
They have the money, man, I'm telling you. And also why it's also a problem. The orange bras.
Wait, who's the orange one?
The orange bras, the blue bras, right? They all use
the same infrastructure.
Exactly, the same infrastructure that is run by the big bra, right? So, because everybody has to play ball, right? We can't now, how do you get Elon to play ball? Because he doesn't need your infrastructure.
He's got satellites.
So he doesn't need it. So that's what they're asking. How are we, because they're making money from that infrastructure, how are we as the country going to make money if we are using outer space things that we cannot get money? There's no money except maybe taxes, if they're lucky. But the problem even with that is that because it's offering cheaper services, even the taxes are low. Right now, because we're all buying very expensive Wi-Fi, our taxes or their taxes are quite high. The revenues are quite high for this country. So now the moment it's cheaper, which means less revenues, which also then means no money for the big people, then they don't want it. That's what I'm saying. It's not that there's a problem with regulating it. It's just that we have to first find a way to make money for ourselves before we let you. People like Spotify pay taxes here. People like Netflix pay taxes here. How are we going to get, especially because that man is also a hardhead. Baba Elon is very much a hardhead. If he doesn't want to do something, he won't. And he's not going to play ball with you. And then you always get the times where our internet is shut off because we don't want you to have access to talking to each other. And then we do the VPN thing. Now with satellites, how are you going to cut me off? You can't cut me off.
I think another thing that's left out of the debate, well, at least as I'm seeing it in our national space, is the impact on schools, the impact on education, the impact on just like the ordinary Zimbabwean to have greater access to the internet. That's I think that's such a compelling reason that all these other things, it's just like a talk for now. Obviously, in the early stages, the first on the job is going to get a lot of money, but it's going to die down. Like what Kuda was saying, the prices, the volumes, it's not going to be a money talk in the next 5 years. But then why are we slowing down our kids from having access to something that they can actually make such good use of?
Because right now kids are like using WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You know how like your extra lesson teacher sends you stuff on WhatsApp and all of that. And I'm just thinking, we could do so much better.
Yeah.
I was listening to the radio. There's now an app that gives kids access to textbooks.
Really?
So you
like
know,
new ventures.
Yeah, so you like download it and then it gives you like access. And I was just thinking, what about the kid Kumusha?
Exactly.
Like when will I get the time to get the internet so I can actually download the books?
And with
because you
what
can do it
laptop?
offline, but I don't have
With what flash
the
stick?
internet.
You see.
So I think it's something that we need. But like going back to what Kuda said, I feel like Zimbabweans, guys, I feel like it's going to be now something more of elitist than access to everyone.
Yeah.
Like I remember when you were speaking about how it's something that's for the rural population, for everyone to get access and all of that. But once you then hone it in with one person, they might charge like crazy amounts, and then it can only go to specific people who will be able to use it for that $40 per month. So, hey guys, let's just hope it doesn't get to that. I really would like some $40 per month fast internet. It would be wow.
Life-changing.
It would change my life. So imagine what it could do for people in the Kumushas there.
Yeah.
You know, also I think the other thing I was just thinking of though, which is basically at this point now of a political thing that it is anything else. But if you think about the Congress meetings regarding Meta, TikTok, you know, when they were wanting to ban, so in America, when they were wanting to ban TikTok and, you know, Meta, because their whole issue was also, I mean, they tried to couch it in a data protection situation, you know, like for individual users, you put your PIN, now you're in my business, right? And you're collecting data from people. And that in itself could cause national security issues because the holding company is in China, and now all of a sudden China now knows all these things about Americans. And, you know, that in itself, I can understand that being an issue. But even whilst listening to those talks, I was thinking, is it even that serious, right? Obviously, they tried to make it bigger, you know, with lots of like, how are you protecting children from, a lot of kids are committing suicide from the things that they've seen on TikTok, some of the information and things that are on social media is not healthy for children, right? Which I agree, but I don't think that's a Meta TikTok issue. I think that's really more of a parental thing, right? But I do understand that they perhaps needs to be more safeguards on things like TikTok and things like, you know, Meta and all of these things to protect kids, and I get it. But I also think you can't overly regulate something in the hopes because you think some really bad catastrophic thing will happen. But obviously listening to them, the biggest issue besides the kids, which was just a glorification of the matter, was the fact that China could potentially have access to data that it doesn't want. So now think about satellites in the sky. Like Amanda just said, it could be a droney issue. Who knows whether it's a drone or if it's a satellite? Who knows whether we're being spied on or who's spying Zimbabwe? I don't know. But I do understand on a global level, Russia might say no, because Russia is thinking the moment America has access to our satellites, or they can now start putting drones, they can now start spying. On a, you know, first of all, the problem, I get it, but on a Zimbabwe low scale, honestly, if you're spying on us, you're also wasting your time. I don't know what you're looking for. But could it be a national security thing? Maybe. Could it be a data protection thing? Maybe. I don't know. I think we'll need to maybe do a bit more research into that and how it could cause data issues. But if already we're giving people like Econet our information, whenever you go get a SIM card, they want your ID number. Whenever you want something, they want a copy of your ID. They want to know your mother's maiden name. They want to know your pet's first name. Like all of these. We're already giving out information anyway. What difference does it make if Elon has it?
I'd rather Elon. Make money, boo.
I have actually a very funny take about Starlink. Like, I understand it's like super fast and it's like, the satellites. I was thinking to myself, like, if DSTV is affected by the rain, like, if my Starlink is there and like kwakunaya or it's like windy and you're telling me that I don't have internet, I'll be kind of pissed because at least with fiber optic, I kind of know that whatever the weather is going to be, it's cool. But if it's satellite involved, a satellite doesn't have this thing of like, it doesn't dodge obstacles. Like the signal is going direct. So it's affected by like random things. So I feel like that's like a hidden thing that Starlink isn't really also addressing.
I read something about that the outside device of it can like melt snow. So I don't know, I don't know, maybe they're still kind of working around how weather can affect transmission. But that's a good
point, actually. Yeah, like what Six is saying, it's an inherent difficulty with that kind of technology, which is why in the first world, where their fiber is like, very competitive to the internet speeds, they're marketing it to if you want internet in the woods or if you're in a remote area, because they know that it's a very unique thing that it allows because it's satellites. But otherwise, satellites also come with a lot of issues. So I think it actually goes back to what Kuda was saying, to say that it will cause our local service providers to at least do what they're doing a bit better and
actually have
a little
fiber.
bit cheaper.
I'm just saying.
And that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes we over-exaggerate how much people want Starlink, right? I think there's lots of people talking about it, but even think about who's talking about it.
It's us.
We're talking about it now, but like, is this a conversation that you have on a day-to-day basis? Now go. No, So I feel like, is it a good thing to have? Yes. But like Anessa said, it could just become such an elitist thing that those are the people talking about it even right now. Those are the people debating it, whether we should or should not have it. The guy in Kumusha is not asking whether I should get Starlink.
Doesn't even know what's happening.
And I feel like sometimes we over-exaggerate the number of people and that all of a sudden everybody is moving, service providers. I don't think that's the case, but like I said before, I definitely think it's a good thing to foster competition. And always in every economy, we never want any person to have a monopoly in a sector. That's why you have things like COMESA and Competition Tariff Commission, to ensure that there's a lot of competition so that the people, us the consumers, are getting the best that can possibly be provided. The moment you start saying no, there's a reason why you're saying no, and it always falls on follow the money. And also because Zimbabweans are very, entrepreneurial, right? We will find a Starlink if we want to. There are some people that have Starlink already in Zimbabwe.
I've heard of those people.
There are some people that have it. If I wanted to get it, best believe there's a way.
There's always a way.
There's always a way. And we're already creating, we're very great at black market in this country.
Zambia is only 6 hours away.
We're already getting people that are on the black market marketing Starlink, teaching you how to hide it to look like a DSTV dish, teaching people how to, keep it under wraps, right? Yeah. And that in itself causes the problem because we're now moving into unregulated spaces. Yeah. If I bought a Starlink thing that's defective and then it does not work, who am I going to complain to? Yeah. Because I already bought it illegally. I shouldn't have it in the first place. And then I was reading something that says, so the ones that allow Starlink, right? they then, for us that don't have it, so us Zimbabweans, they create like a roaming system. You know how like you can roam with your phone in like SA, right? So what they do is, say you can buy the starter kit from, say, the UK, because Starlink is allowed in the UK. They will then ship it to you. Obviously, nobody's really checking what's in your bag, right, when it comes, and then you put it in, connected. It's really much now, because they've already done the settings there and all you're doing is roaming. Then they're going to plug it in, you put in your Wi-Fi password, whatever, all the things. But because you're roaming, it only works for like 2-3 months. Right.
have to go back.
And then you now have to send it back so that they fix it, and then you send it again for another 3 months. That's on itself already labor. But the fact that people are doing it,
They're doing that.
already tells me that like people are not worried about whether you license this or don't. But why create a black market for something that you could just allow the people to have? You're already losing money.
Give us Starlink.
Plus, I think Zimbabweans are actually more mobile data driven. That's like the highest, I think, used internet access point. It should be mobile. And then we have Wi-Fi, even as is, not everyone even uses the local ISPs, like Wi-Fi especially. So Starlink is even another layer on top of that. So I don't think there's going to be that hectic of competition unless they make like Starlink SIM cards or something like that.
It's all a matter dollar.
I'm Sims $1. I don't know how much is SIM card. Is it $1?
$1.
I think so.
Okay, so I don't think we had a very balanced debate. To me, I think I already know the answer, but we'll go through it anyway. So, MMV, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Anesu, yay or nay?
It depends.
It depends on how.
I have to give the lawyer answer. It
Okay.
depends. Like, are we gonna all get it? And say yay. Yeah.
Okay, Shido,
It's a yay. Yay.
it's a yay. Kuda,
It's a yay.
and it's a yay from me.